Okay, well that is it's 2:03. I want to make sure to reward those that are here on time. I so appreciate it. Thanks to everyone that's joining. As I said before, happy Halloween, the last day of the month. Shoulder season is on the mind of many. I talk to a lot of HVAC companies across the country, and of course, depending on your service area, shoulder season looks different, comes at a different time, has a different length. I even had an HVAC owner replied to one of our emails this week and said, "Man, it feels like all year's been shoulder season." So it's certainly been a strange year. We're going to cover some of that today. But really, my goal is to give you some super actionable items, some direct steps that you can take that are effective through shoulder season, through times when the phone's not ringing. How can you go in and shake the bushes and generate jobs and keep your techs busy? That's really the name of the game today, and we have so much to cover. So I'm going to keep quite a pace today, and if there's anything that we didn't go into enough, feel free to go to my website, HVACmarketers.com. You can book a time to talk, and because really we're gonna rip through the presentation today just to make sure everything's covered. If there's anything in particular you want to dive into, we can cover it kind of in a one-on-one setting. So I don't typically kick these off with that offer, but I also don't usually have such a fast pace through these monthly webinars. But I want to give you all as much value as possible, make good on my promise to give you those actionable items to kick off, and be successful through shoulder season. So without any further ado, let's get the pace going. So first things first, I always like to just quickly show what I have discovered to be the 7 key elements to digital marketing that any HVAC company has to be doing well in order to really dominate online. We're not going to go into a ton of detail on this, but I think it does lay a good backdrop just throughout the rest of the presentation. So the way that we implement this is through a program we call the AC Install Job Generator. And you'll see here, again, I'm going to keep the pace fast, so I'm not going to go through every little item here, but you'll see all the component parts that are really critical to get right in order to maximize your lead flow online. So you'll see that there's many parts there, and we're going to not talk about everything today. We'll talk about a few of these, but just know that long term, really for more sustainable long-term growth, all 7 of these component parts really need to be marching together towards the same strategy in order to be most successful. So if I can ask, as I do out of the gate every month, for your attention, I have a lot prepared today for you, and I just ask that in return. Like, let's turn off the cell phones, log out of Facebook, really just tune in, and particularly because there's so much to cover today, the more you focus and dial in, you will get exactly that much back out of today's session. Like, I don't want this to be another session that you sit through and no action is taking place and it's just kind of in one ear and out the other. So that's why I asked, just dial in. I'm going to share the best tricks and secrets that I know to really stay busy, in the off season. So just dial in, and that's really all I ask. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Alex, and I'm the founder of HVAC Marketers. And I have had the distinct privilege of working with many of the top HVAC companies in the country in order to really get their internet marketing dialed in the right way to maximize profits and jobs booked through the internet. That's just to kind of lay the backdrop on me. And what's most important for you to know is that HVAC is all I do. This is all that we do at my company, HVAC Marketers, is think day in, day out, how do we move the needle for HVAC? So all that I share today is really coming from that lens. So, and I just want to note too, if as we're going through this presentation, I'm throwing out ideas and you think, hey, maybe I just want to have Alex and his team implement this, do this for us. We'd love that opportunity, and we can get that conversation started either by submitting a chat here, or again, you can go to hvacmarketers.com and just click on the schedule strategy session button. that's not the goal of today's session, nor is it ever with my monthly webinars, but I do always want to make sure that you kind of know we are a full service digital marketing agency that serves the residential HVAC space. So that's a bit about me. So let's go ahead and dive into really the problem of today's session. So it's been a really strange year, as you know, I don't have to tell many of you. Demand seems to be lower, coast to coast. Buyers are a lot more hesitant to opt for change outs, higher dollar repairs. The buyer is just not the same as 2 years ago, let's say, and we're all feeling it. And on top of that, some of the tried and true strategies around paid advertising are just getting more and more expensive by the day, and that shows no sign of slowing. In fact, it's actually, we'll talk today about some places where it's become even more expensive, in places to put your dollars behind advertising and book more jobs. So there's a lot of market conditions that have made this year challenging. And add to that, this is a really interesting stat from my lens, as a digital marketing agency serving the HVAC world. I look at demand in a unique way. So here's just an example, looking at basically a chart of how many people are searching for the term air conditioning repair from July of last year to July of this year. And you can see quite a stark difference. So like 65,000 searches in July of 2022. This year it was closer to 30,000. So of course this is a rough metric, a more on the napkin way of assessing demand, but it's interesting nonetheless to just compare year over year and have a little bit of a sanity check that, hey, there in many ways is a lower demand. So these are things that we're all facing. So with that backdrop set, I want to talk about the goal for today. And the goal for today is to really help you all batten down the hatches. For a long time in the HVAC space, we've kind of been able to get away with what I'll go ahead and say is mediocrity when it comes to your marketing efforts. And given these economic, macroeconomic changes, some of that I just mentioned there, that's no longer the case. Really, it's time to move away from mediocrity and the mindset that the phone's going to ring and there's our marketing's in place and our websites we've done a couple of years back, and really instead of that, taking a close look at everything you're doing for marketing and just tighten everything down, make it that much more effective. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I am going to skip over this for the sake of time. And this is really how I want to frame the session, moving from mediocrity to excellence. But I realize that the best case scenario is that you're doing all kinds of marketing and you're doing all of them on 100% effectively. And we know as business owners that that's not the reality. I keep a note right here on my monitor that says, don't let perfection be the enemy of done. And so that's where I bring in the 80-20 rule. And I'm a believer that there's really 20% of the activities that we do as business owners that affect 80% of the result. And it's finding those items that are highly leveraged and really doing those excellent, doing those really well. And that's where really I want to start today. So the 80-20 kind of rub for shoulder season includes a couple of focus areas. So number one, how do we get new customers, given all the circumstances, given the season, given the economy? We're going to talk today about how to do that in a couple of ways. Number one, higher website conversion. We're going to talk about local service ads, but not the kind of 101 that I'm sure almost all of you are familiar with if you're on this webinar, really taking a look at the 201 and kind of we're going to assume that you're already set up and running local service ads. How do you take those to the next level and pick back up maybe the lead flow you used to see from that. We're going to talk about online reputation and how it can help improve ranking, conversion, and how important it plays within the culture of your company. All of this, again, through the lens of getting the phone to ring and make it happen through shoulder season. And then lastly, we're going to take a look at how to leverage your existing customer base in a way that's not bothersome or annoying to your existing customers, but reaching out to them in a way that they appreciate, and it can be a game changer for you in the sense of booking more jobs, having more control over your schedule, being able to backfill days that are slower. And this is good. This is the one I'm really excited about, is talking about this play with existing customers, because we have just seen it be such a game changer for so many of our clients. So to that end, and since it is Halloween after all, if you make it to the very end with us today, or make it to the end with me, I'm the one giving the webinar, I've got a special bonus for you. And you've probably seen, after this, we package up this webinar and we send out a recording of it. This special bonus is going to be cut out from the recording. It's only available if you stick, with me until the very end, and it relates to the play where we're using your existing customer base to give you ultimate control over booking jobs on demand, doing it super cost effective. It's this play that's been a game changer for our clients, and I'm gonna reveal a kind of a prize present, if you will, regarding that, but only for those that stay till the very end. So I would be remiss if I didn't treat you all on Halloween. How's that? So number one, let's talk about new customers and how you can, where you should be putting your focus, I should say, to get new customers through the slower periods. And so I'm going to start it off with a question. What is the one element that will have the biggest impact on the results of your overall internet marketing efforts? Give that a second of thought. And I'll go ahead and reveal the answer. Well, it's your website, right? So think of your website as your online storefront. And as you think about all of your other marketing efforts, be that digital, so SEO, paid ads, things of that nature, or if you think about billboards and direct mail, ultimately all of those plays are, in fact, I just wanted to make sure my audio is working. It looks like it is. Okay. All of those marketing efforts are ultimately driving folks to your website, right? So if you think about your website more in the sense of a conversion machine, that's how we refer to them at HVAC Marketers, it really frames the website in the correct light. And I'll give you an example. Let's say with your current website, if 100 people in your service area visit it, and let's say out of every 100, 3 of those people actually click to call or fill out a form or chat you via the website and reach out to your business. That's a 3% conversion rate. Now, if you have a website that's truly optimized for conversion, and you take that number from, let's say, 3% to 6%, you've just instantly doubled the effectiveness of all of your other marketing efforts. That means the money that you're spending on billboards, direct mail, SEO, and you're funneling visitors to your website, twice as many of those people are going to convert into callers and then into customers. So I can't stress enough the importance of making sure that your website is set up for conversion. And this is a topic I mentioned. We have a lot to cover. We can't go into insane detail on this. Of course, we always offer to do a free evaluation of your website, and we can look kind of one-on-one if you so choose, and I would encourage you to. But for now, I'm going to point out just kind of some high-level items just to get the gears turning in your brain and give you the tools to check and see if your own website meets these standards. So we'll just take a look here, kind of an A, B, before, after of a website. We'll show you a couple of here really nice sites and I'm gonna point out a few specific details to you. So when it comes to conversion, you may be thinking, okay, Alex, conversion, what are you talking about? Well, I'll show you exactly what I mean here. I'm going to point out some of the conversion elements that are present on this site. So first and foremost, you have two immediate and obvious calls to action in the middle of the page. You've got the phone number, and then you've got schedule a service, which allows people to submit their name and some information, schedule a service if they don't want to call. So that's first and foremost. Two, we've got trust signals. So 4.9 stars on Google, and it's truly a widget that plugs into Google. So we're telling people why they can trust us. Three, a very resounding and specific headline. You're number one HVAC contractor in Jacksonville, surrounding areas. Four, flat rate pricing with no hidden fees. So with that, we're speaking to what are some fears that your customer may have. Well, they don't want to get taken advantage of on pricing. So that's something that we call out immediately on the site, and that helps people have the confidence to actually contact you, the business. I'm losing count of the conversion elements. Obviously, we're displaying hours, we're displaying social icons. So you can see in what looks like a very simple, clean homepage, tons of conversion elements that, again, take that conversion rate from, let's say, like a 3 to a 6 or even higher %, and overall making all the other marketing efforts that much more effective. So a few other tips. I find that a lot of HVAC owners are hesitant to show some real and authentic pictures on the website. And I feel like a broken record at this point, saying people want to do business with people. So I always encourage you, be real and authentic, use photos of the team, not even just on the job, but team outings and charity events and things that you do. That just shows that you're real people, because at the end of the day, as I say, people want to do business with people. That extends over to leveraging multimedia. So if you have videos that you can add to the website that really show people kind of who you are, who your team is, that really helps a lot. And these don't have to be incredibly overproduced videos either. You'll see, even in my website, I have a welcome video that's just authentic, and it just talks about kind of welcoming people to the site and who we are and what we offer. And it's like 1.5 minutes, super short and sweet, but it really does the job. You want to showcase your social proof, as I mentioned. So in the HVAC world, really this is reviews, and specifically Google reviews. So making sure that those are on the website. And then to help people convert, make sure that your special offers are present. And not only that, but make sure they're updated and timely. Like I see a lot of times that I go to, I'm evaluating an HVAC company's website and the coupon expired 2 years ago. Go on there, and we're in the off season. Make sure that you've got offers that make sense and expire, let's say in the next 30 days. Those are all things that result in people taking more action and taking it now instead of later. And then lastly, on the website, you have to make sure that it's mobile friendly. So if you haven't done this, or you haven't done this in a while, I would encourage you, pull out your phone, right? And don't do it now, because we committed to stay focused. Now I'm just teasing. You can pull out your phone and go to your website and see how it looks on mobile, because here are just some simple stats. The main stat really is, when I look at our clients' online metrics, we see about 65% of visitors are on mobile. So if all you're ever doing is looking at your website on desktop, then you may be missing like 65% of your possible customers. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. And a tool just to make this really easy, you ask yourself, how can I get my website to convert like that? We've put together a checklist that you can easily access on our website. It's go.hvacmarketers.com. In fact, I will copy this link in the chat right there, and you can easily download our checklist that will make sure and guide you step by step and say, do I have this in place? Do I have that in place? And that can give you a really quick kind of scorecard on where you stand. So that is it for the website. Number 2, and we're still thinking about how do we bring in new customers. So we're going to talk about local service ads. So again, I'm going to assume that everyone here is signed up for local service ads. If not, the quick 10-second pitch is this is a no-brainer, truly, for I'm yet to see an HVAC company that this doesn't make sense for. So go to Google's website, sign up for local service ads. You have to jump through a couple of hoops in terms of submitting license information, insurance information, but get set up, and we're gonna take it from the point of you've signed up, you've been using local service ads, and maybe you've seen a slight or dramatic drop in the lead flow you get through local service ads. And I'm going to share with you some steps of how you can help course correct there. So number 1, and this is one that's honestly missed a lot, is to make sure that you've dialed in your profile. Like, submit every piece of information that you possibly can on your profile. So means making sure that you have your budget up to date, you have your ad schedule running, as wide open as possible. You've added all the business bio information, you've selected your proper job types, you've selected your service area and even double, triple checked it. We've seen times where the service area is totally out of whack and there's no explanation why. So I would encourage you go in and double, triple check that your service area is correct, and make sure that you add photos. And just as I said on the website, don't be afraid to add photos that show some personality. Your customers are homeowners and people want to do business with people. So we find that the more personal photos that our clients are using on their LSA profile really can help with conversion. And then, if you haven't noticed, there have been a ton of changes to the local service ads platform here just in the last couple of months. Google's experimenting with all sorts of things, reducing the results from 3 to 2 in the search, and all sorts of things. So everyone's kind of still watching to see where they're going to land. But something out of the gate we have seen that's been effective is going in and changing your bid strategy from automatic to manual. So if you've really seen a drop in lead flow through local service ads, I would recommend that you go into the platform and change your bid to manual and put in the maximum that you're willing to spend for a lead. And this time of the year, I would encourage you to not be shy with this. If you can put in 80, 100, 120, and add that as a manual bid, we have seen that be effective in increasing lead flow. And I will note that doesn't mean that now going forward every lead that comes through is going to be $80. In fact, usually it still remains, I won't say significantly, but less than that. Maybe it's $65 instead of $80, even though that's what you've set as the current max. So this is another strategy that you can absolutely employ and help generate more lead flow through the local service ads. Oh, that was just my next point. So, okay. So 2, make sure that you're marking your jobs as booked. This is yet another thing I see. Oftentimes the ball gets dropped here. Calls are coming in and they're taken care of and jobs are booked and completed, paid, move on down the road. But then when I go and look in the local service ads dashboard, I'm not seeing any jobs booked or very few. We have to actually tell Google that we are booking jobs from the leads that they send, because we find that is actually a ranking factor in the local service ads algorithm. So the more that you can accurately mark booked mark jobs as booked, the more leads Google tends to send, and it makes sense because uh, Google, being self-serving, for-profit company, they want to make sure that their users get the best experience. So when a Google user types in HVAC repair and finds your business, and they call you and do work, and everything's good, when we mark the job as booked, that's telling Google that, hey, they sent you a lead and it must have been a good fit for the customer because they ended up booking with you. It's just another confidence signal. So making sure that your jobs are marked booked. I'll kind of breeze over some of this. Adding as much information, adding email, things like that, and deal with disputes. I'm going to skip over that for the moment, again, just for the sake of time. I want to emphasize point number 4: drive verified reviews. So, in the same way that marking jobs as booked is really important to give Google some confidence that, hey, they can send you more leads and you're going to do right by Google's customers. The verified reviews is really the last piece of that puzzle. So Google sends you the lead, you mark it as booked, so Google says, okay, again, there must have been some fitment there. Our customer that searched HVAC repair booked in with Acme HVAC, whatever your HVAC company is called. But then at the end, if we're able to send a review after a completed and happy job and that person leaves a 5-star review, that's just the last kind of the last car on the train, if you will, that tells Google, hey, we had a customer that was looking for HVAC repair. We recommended Acme HVAC. They booked the job, and then our customer left them a 5-star review. So it's just more and more confidence, and another factor we have seen result in more lead flow. So driving those verified leads is quite important. And then lastly, just because I'm a believer in having a goal to work towards, make sure that you are trying to book as many of these jobs as possible. I find that the lead quality from LSA is quite high. So the higher the booking rate, I should say, the more lead flow we have seen our clients get. So if you're able to book at a high percent, and 85% is a high benchmark, I know. I'd say many of you right now, if you look in your dashboard, you may see 50%, or maybe you're not booking any jobs and you're not marking any as booked and you see 0%. I find that if you aim for 85% booking rate, you're going to be in the very top upper echelon within your service area, and that's really a big factor for Google. So that's a great target to aim for. So just in summary here, again, make sure that your profile is up to date. Open up your budget. Again, this is not the time of the year to be hesitant here. You're only charged through local service ads when you get a lead. So I would encourage you to really set those budgets as high as you can. Set the max bid as high as you can profitably. And remember that when you pay for a new customer, yes, you have to look at the revenue profit that you're getting from that initial job, but I also challenge you to think about the lifetime value of that customer. And let's say even if you're breaking even or making a slight profit on the first job, if you're doing the right things to retain that customer, and years and years down the road they're coming back to you for service, you're getting maybe you get the average person is going to replace their system like twice in a lifetime. So if you're getting at least one of those, that lifetime value of the customer can go up exponentially. So that's where I'll leave it on local service ads. Again, if you have any specific questions, I'm always happy to meet one-on-one and answer those for you. But that's really a no-brainer play for getting new customers booked in the shoulder season. And now we're going to talk about online reputation. Online reputation is one of those, it's like the tide that raises all boats, right? So in my experience, your online reputation is the number one conversion factor if for someone that needs your service, for them to decide whether or not they're going to contact you. If you have a world-class reputation, you're simply going to get more business than, if you have 50 reviews on Google and a 4.2 star. I think we all subconsciously know that, and I think I'll just speak for myself in my own buying behaviors. I know I rely extremely heavily on online reputation. If I'm trying a new restaurant, or I need a home service provider in my area, the first thing I'm doing is looking at online reputation. So this is the time of the year where we go from mediocrity to excellence, and we really dial this in and develop a system and a culture that breeds a higher and more consistent online reputation. That's my pitch to you here with point number 3. So here are just a couple of quick stats that basically reinforce what I just told you anecdotally. 84% of people trust an online review as much as a personal recommendation. 77% of consumers think that reviews that are more than 3 months old aren't relevant. And that's a point that I think is missed by many. Just let that sink in for a second. If you've got a 4.9 star, but let's say you have one review in the last 3 months, this stat would challenge the efficacy of your online reputation. I've got a couple more stats here, but I'm going to kind of skip over just for the sake of time again. So Google reviews, they do a number of things. They do impact your online rankings, but in my opinion, I think the biggest reason why they're important is, again, for that conversion factor. So we're going to talk about 5 key principles when it comes to your online reputation and really how to go from good to great. The first thing, and here's one I can't help you with, but you have to provide a world-class customer experience. There's no faking this. There's no, if you're not doing this, then everything else doesn't matter. So though it's quick, it's the brevity that I spend on this doesn't represent how important it is. You really do have to be providing a world-class customer experience. So I'm going to assume that all of you are doing that, and we'll move on from there. So the second point is really building online reviews and reputation management into your company culture. And so what this means is, it's important to be sending out review requests and things like that. But leadership is a trickle down from the top. So if reviews are not important to you as the owner, you as the leadership in the company, reviews are not going to be important to your team. And the opposite is true. If it's very important to you and you review performance using reviews, and it is really important piece that you're constantly mentioning and asking about in team meetings week in and week out, that's something that trickles through the company culture. And I can tell you that, bar none, bringing reputation into your company culture, that's the magic. It's not automation or technology. All those things are important, but it's really bringing it into your company culture. So here are just some actionable ideas. As promised, I want to give you things that you can run and implement today. So if you're not already, having a monthly incentive for the tech with the most reviews. Do you think if you gave away a prize between $100 and $500, let's say, a month for the tech that has the most reviews, do you think that would have an impact on your review cadence? I would bet so, and I've seen it time and time again with our clients that take this seriously and put some incentive behind the reviews. And something that can help with this, so you want to make it part of the culture, but some training is also in order too. So I would recommend doing some role play with your techs and how they go about asking for the review. And my recommendation is always to remember the rule of reciprocity when it comes to your customers. So reciprocity means when I do something good for you, you feel the need to return the favor. So at the end of that job, when your tech is talking to the homeowner on the way out, really having that conversation around, hey, it was great serving you, glad we got XYZ fixed. If you feel I deserve it, I'd greatly appreciate if you would leave a review. You're going to get a text message and an email, and you'll see the QR code on your invoice where you can leave me a review. And my company, I get evaluated based on my review. So if you feel I deserve it, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave me a review. That kind of messaging says a couple of things. One, they say in sales, you got to ask for the business. So you got to ask for the review. Two, you're planting a seed for that customer so that they know that they're going to be getting an email. They're going to be getting a text message with that link. And it starts to develop that reciprocity. And then three, saying, if you feel I deserve it, assuming your tech knocked it out of the park, delivered that world-class experience, they're going to feel that your tech deserves it. And saying, hey, if I deserve it, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review, and I would even say mention me by name, because that's how we're assessed. So you can see that there's a lot of elements in there that I would recommend including, and each of your techs have their own personality, so everyone has a different way of doing it. But you can take those elements, put them into your own style as the tech, and be really effective with it. And that's where role playing can be effective. Another idea that I thought was really creative and has worked really well is the Tip Your Tech campaign. And that is essentially where this is what it is. You tell the customer essentially, hey, if we do this Tip Your Tech program where if you want to tip your tech, all you have to do is leave an online review, and we as the company automatically tip your technician today $20 or $30 or whatever the amount is. And it's like, again, it goes back to reciprocity. If your tech did a really great job, the customer is going to be happy, and they think, hey, I can tip this guy a good lunch just by leaving a review, and you're going to text me the review link. Like, I'll do that. And you make it easy, you develop reciprocity. You can see here, even though I talk a lot about digital marketing and tools and things like that, just how important the culture side is to getting your customers to actually leave you reviews. 3, what you measure, inspect, and celebrate, you create more of. So again, as these reviews start to come in, as your techs are implementing these strategies and talking to your customers, make sure that you're measuring these reviews and then celebrate them within your team. I can assure you that results in more buy-in and better results. 4, as I mentioned, it is important to have automation in place and make sure that you're sending out review requests to your customers via text, via email. You can have physical cards in place that you can leave. You do have to make it easy so that for them to leave the review. So that part has to be true in conjunction with the culture piece that we've talked about. And then lastly, make sure that you're acknowledging and responding to every review. I think most folks know to respond to the negative reviews, and that is important. But from a retention standpoint, it's also really important to respond to the positive reviews because you, as the happy customer, your tech asks if you'd leave the review, and you're going to tip them $20 by doing so. You leave the review, and then you think nothing of it, and a day later, you get a response, and it says from the owner, and it's the owner saying, "Hey, thanks, Sandra, for leaving the review. Glad that Andrew, your tech, did a great job. We appreciate your business." That goes such a long way in terms of retaining your existing customers and keeping them coming back time and time again. Because I can't say it enough, people want to do business with people, and when they feel like they're being treated right by a real person and appreciated by the company, by the simple act of responding to their good review, really it goes a long way. So that is it for online reputation. Like this, I feel really is the time of the year to get your online reputation right, get these processes in place. I'll take a sip of water before I lose my voice here, and cover the last topic. So again, this is the one that I'm really excited for. This is leveraging your existing customers in order to keep your schedule full. And I'm going to kind of break down how we do this for our clients and how to be most effective with it. And as an intro, as I said before, like with local service ads, is a no-brainer for HVAC companies to fill the schedule and keep jobs coming in. And I believe that's true. Using this strategy is like that times 5 in terms of no-brainer, or 10. It's just something everyone needs to have an effective strategy in place to leverage your customer list to keep jobs booked on the schedule. And I'm going to break that down for you now. So I'm talking about using your existing customers and using your list. And most people will think about email and email newsletters and email offers, things like that, direct mail even. Those are all effective, but what we find to just be far and away the most effective is text message marketing. And I will tell you that I think it's the single best marketing tactic to quickly book jobs on the calendar. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one, you're not paying for any ads. At some point you already paid to acquire every customer on your list. They clicked on a Google ad, or they found you via SEO, or they called you based on your mailer. Whatever it is, you incurred some cost at some point to get that person on your list. So the more times you can keep them coming back, the more lifetime value you can get from your entire customer list. So number one, you're not paying for ads. Two, who's your best future customer? I will argue and say your best future customer is your previous customer, the person that's in your service area, the person that's already demonstrated that they're a qualified homeowner, the person that's already demonstrated they'll pay for the service, and the person that's demonstrated that they'll pay you for the service. That's a pretty good future customer as well. So it's important to really think about it like that. And then 3, when it comes to text message marketing, the results are nearly instantaneous. It's very direct. You're reaching out to the customer, they're reaching back to you. It happens in short order. So let's talk about the process. Kind of break down how we're doing this for our clients. So number one, you have to pick an effective seasonal offer that you plan to share with your customer list. You don't want to be sending out air conditioning repair on Halloween, for example. But when it comes to offers, here's another point that's important to remember. When you're sending out a text message, more times than not, that person doesn't have an immediate need. So, for example, if you were to send out an offer via text message that was, let's say, a discount on service or a discount on install, well, more than likely your customers doesn't need that right now, because if they had an urgent need for service or were in the market for a new install, there would be an immediate need and they would call your competitor. So the offers that tend to work best for text message marketing are those that can, what I say, generate their own demand. So that means tune-up offers and safety checks and maintenance offers, those things where your customers get the message and they think, well, I guess I probably should get my furnace checked before I turn it on this year, and you're giving me an offer. Okay, I'm gonna reach out to you guys. That's the way you need to be thinking about these text message offers. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, turn that offer into text message language. So I think the reason that a lot of people fail using text message marketing is they try to use wording and language that sounds like an email. It's really long, it's impersonal. Just think of the way that you text friends and family. Like, pull out your phone and look at your last 10 text messages. Truly, that is what your text messages should look like as you're sending them to your customers. People want to do business with people. I will continue to repeat myself there. And texting is such a personal channel to communicate with someone that your language needs to reflect that. And I'll give some examples in a moment. 3, send the offers to your customer list. And I'll caveat that, by saying, oftentimes we recommend removing your existing agreement customers, or if you've recently done an install, you don't want to send someone a text message that says, "Hey, we've got a special on regular maintenance, and you just installed a new unit for them 3 weeks ago." That can create a little bit of a the goal here is to have your customers appreciating and thanking you for these text messages. We don't want to bother anyone. We don't want to burn your customers, turn them off to you. So that's a really simple safeguard against that, is removing agreement and recent install customers. And then 4, when customers respond with interest, you get them booked on the schedule, right? So it's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to give you some examples of the messaging that we will send and how it's personal. So for example here, "Hey Joe, it's Alex from Acme Air. We have a few remaining coupons for winter tune-ups. Would you be interested?" I'm mentioning my name, where I'm from. I'm giving a little bit of a scarcity. We have a few remaining coupons, and then the direct ask, "Would you be interested?" And then we'll wait for a response. And if no response comes, then we send a follow-up, right? So, "Hey Joe, just checking back to see if I should," "Hey Joe, just checking back to see if you're interested in a coupon for a winter tune-up. Should I save one for you?" So having a system in place to automate this is really a must, because it feels on the front end very personal and one-on-one. But if you have 3 to 10,000 customers in your list, let's say, having automation in place is an absolute must here. And I'm gonna break down for you kind of the business case as to how this text message marketing can work. So, for example, this is just a really simple calculator that I've put together, and I'll send the link to this as well. But I'll do it after I demo this. So there's basically three factors that dictate the success of your text message marketing. One is the size of your customer list. Like, if you have 0 customers in your customer list, then you will make 0 money from text message marketing, obviously. So the size of your list, your average ticket size, and then your close rate. So when people inevitably raise their hand and say, "Yeah, I would like to get scheduled in and take advantage of that coupon for the winter tune-up," if 100 people respond and say that, how many of those 100 people is your team able to get booked in and actually close? So just a quick example here. Let's say you have a list of 5,000. We'll say you have a list of 4,000. 4,000 contacts on your list. We'll say that we've already removed agreement customers and recent installs. So then comes average ticket. I mean, I know this will vary widely for shop to shop. I totally get that. So I try to be conservative here. We'll say maybe 500 is the average ticket, and I know that many of you are more than double that, but I like to try to be conservative. What we have found is that about 4.7% of the people that you send these texts to will reply, and not only reply, but with a positive intent. So they want to take advantage of the coupon. So that gives us 188 people that have responded to your offer that want to be booked into the schedule. And here's that last part I talked about. So we've got 188 people interested. What percent will your sales team close these at? Now keep in mind, these are previous customers. They've said yes to the offer. So I know many of you will say, oh, we'll close 90, 100% of them. And I think it's expected that you would close a high percent, but let's just be safe and say it's 50%. What you're going to see here is a calculation of your return. So from that list of 4,000, you've all of a sudden unlocked $47,000 in additional revenue from your customer list using text message marketing. That's why I say this is just one of the most powerful tools there is to really get jobs booked on the schedule, keep in front of your customers, retain them at a high level, and it just goes up from there. If you're able to close 75% instead of 50, now you're unlocking 70,000 in revenue. You can play with these numbers. In fact, I'll put that link into the chat here. Oops. If I can get that done for you. I don't want to derail us. Let's see here. Copy link. There we go. Let me just make sure that this is it. Bear with me. Well, I know that this is always a really interesting thing to look at because you can plug in your exact list size, so on and so forth. Okay. So here is that link. Feel free to make a copy and you can plug in your own numbers and see kind of what would be available to you. The numbers are pretty powerful. So there is one thing to note on this text message marketing front. It has gotten a bit more complicated literally in the last 2 months, 3 months. There have been new regulations that have come out, which are always fun, always throwing us a curveball, that we have to comply with. And for those of you, if you're doing text message reminders and things like that from your CRM, you're probably somewhat familiar with what I'm talking about. These new regulations have made it so that you as the business have to submit some information and say, okay, this is our business and these are the texts that we plan to send out. And there's really some big hoops that need to be jumped through. So kind of what's required there, you have to provide business information like your exact business name, EIN, registered address, things like that. As I mentioned, you have to submit your messaging for review. So that is a bit of a bummer, and that does make it more difficult to get this in play, which is too bad because this is a really effective strategy. When you have the right messaging and the right system in place to generate some of those numbers that I was showing. So the regulatory compliance is a must. But with if you're on the other side of that and have been successful there, you can generate some just unbelievable results. So that calculator is helpful to kind of estimate what you can expect. But these are just some real world results that I wanted to share that we've seen with our clients. Since implementing the text message marketing at the very end of April, generating over $200,000 in quotable revenue, and then down here you'll see $52,000 plus of actual booked jobs, front to back, no questions asked, like revenue that's on the books. Without paying a dollar for Google Ads. So it's super effective. So this is what brings me to the, make it to the end bonus. I see that so many of you have stayed on here till the very end, and I do appreciate that. I wanna treat more than I trick today. So this is something that's really special to me. as I mentioned, I've seen how, and really quick. So I'm gonna send this out as a replay to to those that weren't able to make it. But this is where we're gonna cut off. So if you're on the replay, you insert the edit, and you'll pick back up with us in a bit. So that is the end of the offer, and here we're about to wrap up. I'm gonna let the replay folks. We'll pick back up right here, just kind of as we cover a quick summary. So in terms of getting your marketing done right in the shoulder season, you want to improve your marketing hub for higher conversion, which is your website. Use our checklist, schedule a strategy session with me, and review one-on-one, but take action to review your website to make sure it's converting. 2, taking the next step forward with Google Local Service Ads. 3, leveraging your customer list. This is just the home run play that we just discussed, that all the replay folks that are now back with us missed out on. And then lastly, building a world-class reputation through your company's culture. It is my belief that these are really the 80-20 type factors that really will set you up for success in this off season through the winter. If you really will focus in on them and take immediate action. So that's all I've got for you all today. For those that were here live, I'm excited to help a number of you all with I can't tell you what the program is unless you were in the webinar, so we'll have to keep that a secret. But those that are still here live know what I'm talking about. For everyone though, if you would like more help from us, feel free to go to our website, hvacmarketers.com. /schedule. You can book a time one-on-one with me where we can review top to bottom everything you have going on with your online marketing and work to tell you how that can be improved, where there's opportunity, where you're doing things well, and kind of give you an overall scorecard. So I'm here to help. Anything I can do, reach out to me directly. I respond to all my own messages, so feel free to do that. And guys, I wish you tremendous success in the shoulder season, and I wish you a happy Halloween. Be safe with your families tonight, and I look forward to seeing you on the next session. So until then, take care. Bye-bye.